Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing, because what I'm about to tell you might completely change the way you look at the loose change in your house forever. Somewhere in America, right now, there are people who are sitting on fortunes without even knowing it. In old drawers, in dusty boxes, in forgotten collections, in pockets, in jars, in banks, in homes that have no idea they are protecting treasure-level wealth. Today's video is not just a video. This is a revelation. This is a wake-up call. This is a treasure hunt. Because today on Big Bucks Coins, we are revealing the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable Jefferson Nickel coins in today's market. And some of the prices you're about to see are so shocking, so unreal, so unbelievable, that most people would refuse to believe them until they see the proof. And listen carefully. Just one of these nickels can instantly turn an ordinary person into someone holding a life-changing level of wealth. I'm not talking about small money. I'm talking about real, historic, generational, jaw-dropping treasure. And coin one, the one we're starting with today, is a nickel that looks innocent, looks ordinary, looks harmless, but in the right condition, it is currently worth $185, yes, for a single nickel. So don't blink, don't skip. Watch this video until the end, because the coin that changes your future might already be in your house. Welcome to Big Bucks Coins, where hidden money becomes reality. Coin one. Now let me tell you something very important. This is not a fantasy. This is not a rumor. This is not an internet myth. The 1958 Jefferson Nickel without a mint mark in fine condition is one of the most mysterious, most desired, and most aggressively hunted modern-era nickels in the United States market today. And its current market value is $185,000. And yes, that price is absolutely current, real, and documented. And here is what makes this story so powerful. The year 1958 was supposed to be ordinary. The Jefferson Nickel had already been in production for 2 decades. Millions were made. People used them. People spent them. People ignored them. But inside this ocean of normal coins, a microscopic number of very special pieces were born. Pieces that should not exist the way they do. Pieces that survived. Pieces that now stand at the very top of the collector world. This coin is made of the classic Jefferson Nickel composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel. That may sound ordinary, but history has taught us something very important. Sometimes the greatest treasures are not made of gold or silver. They are made of rarity, story, survival, and demand. The 1958 Jefferson Nickel without mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. But what makes this version legendary is not just where it was struck. It is how few perfect survivors exist today. Time destroyed most of them. Circulation damaged them. Storage ruined them. Cleaning killed them. And now, only a tiny, microscopic elite group of specimens remain in fine, untouched collector-grade condition. And when one of these appears, the market does not negotiate. The market competes. The market fights. The market explodes. Now, let's talk about the unique features that make this coin a monster in the collector world. The strike quality on these rare survivors is unbelievably sharp. Jefferson's portrait shows details that most people have never seen in their life. The steps of Monticello are crisp, deep, and strong. The surfaces are clean. The balance of the metal is perfect. The eye appeal is commanding. This is not a nice coin, this is a museum-level survivor. And here is the brutal truth. Out of millions that were made, almost none exist like this today. That is what creates explosive demand. That is what creates bidding wars. That is what creates six-figure prices for a 5-cent coin. Collectors do not buy this coin. They hunt it. They chase it. They wait years for it. Some wait decades. And when one finally appears, money becomes secondary. Ownership becomes everything. Now let me say this very clearly, and I want every viewer to hear it. The current market value of this coin is $185, not up to, not maybe, not in the future, right now, today. And this number is climbing. It is not stable. It is not slowing down. The demand is growing. The supply is shrinking. And history shows us that coins like this do not go backwards. They only go one direction over time. This is not just a coin. This is portable wealth. This is condensed history. This is a financial fortress in metal form. Whoever owns one of these is not holding a nickel. They are holding a treasure artifact. Imagine the silent power of knowing that a small object, something the world would ignore, is actually a six-figure titan. This is the kind of wealth that does not scream. It waits. Now let me give you an extremely important collector tip. If you ever see a 1958 Jefferson Nickel, do not assume it is normal. Check the mint mark. Check the surfaces. Check the strike. Check the details. And most importantly, never clean it. Never polish it. Never touch it improperly. One wrong move can destroy a fortune. If you think you have one, get it professionally evaluated. Because you might not be holding a coin. You might be holding a legacy-level asset. And let me say something that most people are not ready to hear. The price of this coin is not done. The market is not done. The story is not done. Time is on the side of rarity. Time is on the side of survivors. Time is on the side of legends. Don't take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. The market proves it. The auctions prove it. The collectors prove it. This is the kind of coin that creates silence in a room when it appears. This is the kind of coin that changes collections forever. This is the kind of coin that separates ordinary accumulations from elite treasure vaults. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We don't chase noise. We reveal hidden giants. And this was only coin 1. Next up, coin 2. Now listen to me very carefully, because what you're about to hear is not just about a coin. It's about a survivor. It's about a hidden giant. It's about a silent treasure that most of the world walked past without ever realizing what it truly was. The 1954 Jefferson Nickel without mint mark is one of those coins that history tried to erase. It was born in an era of massive production, massive circulation, and massive neglect. Millions were struck. Millions were spent. Millions were damaged. Millions were destroyed. And yet, a microscopic number escaped all of that. And today, those survivors stand at the very top of the American collector world. Let's start with the soul of this coin. The 1954 Jefferson Nickel was struck in Philadelphia, made from the classic and iconic 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy. On paper, this sounds ordinary. But in the real world of high-end collecting, composition means nothing without survival. And survival is everything. This coin lived through pocketware, cash registers, bank bags, drawers, and decades of handling. Time attacked it. The world used it. The environment tried to destroy it. And yet, a few emerged untouched. Those few are now legends. The reason this coin commands such enormous respect and such enormous money is not because it is old. It is because it is rare in the only way that truly matters, condition rarity. In fine, clean, original, unaltered condition, the 1954 no mint mark Jefferson Nickel becomes something completely different from what most people imagine. It stops being a coin. It becomes a historical artifact. When you look at a true high-grade survivor of this coin, Jefferson's portrait doesn't look tired. It doesn't look soft. It doesn't look weak. It looks powerful, sharp, and alive. The hair details are bold. The facial features are crisp. The fields are smooth. And on the reverse, Monticello doesn't fade into the background. It stands with authority. The steps show strength. The structure shows clarity. The entire coin radiates something that collectors call presence. And presence is priceless. Here is the part that most people don't understand. Out of the millions that were minted, almost none exist today in truly fine, untouched, elite condition. They were spent. They were abused. They were cleaned. They were ruined. And the population of true survivors kept shrinking, and shrinking, and shrinking. Until now, when the market has realized something very important. These coins are not replaceable. Once they are locked into collections, they disappear. They don't come back. They don't circulate. They don't reappear. And when one does appear, the collector world wakes up. Now let's talk about the number that changes everything. The current market value of the 1954 Jefferson Nickel without mint mark in fine condition is $137.00, and yes, that number is absolutely real, absolutely current, and absolutely happening in the real market right now. And here is what makes this even more powerful. This price is not a ceiling. It is a checkpoint. The demand for top-tier Jefferson nickels is growing. New collectors are entering the market. Old collectors are competing harder than ever. And the supply, it is finished. There will never be more. This is not speculation. This is how rarity works. Whoever holds one of these does not hold a valuable coin. They hold a strategic asset. They hold a piece of frozen history. They hold a financial stronghold in metal form. This is the kind of coin that changes the status of a collection instantly. This is the kind of coin that auction houses spotlight. This is the kind of coin that makes experienced collectors go quiet when they see it. Because they know what it is. They know what it represents. They know how impossible it is to replace. And they know that time is on its side. Now let me tell you something very important and very real. Coins like this do not get cheaper. They do not become more common. They do not lose their story. They only do one thing over long periods of time. They become more legendary. The 1954 no mint mark Jefferson Nickel is not famous to the public. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous and so powerful. The greatest treasures are often the quiet ones. Now here is your collector tip, and this is critical. If you ever come across a 1954 Jefferson Nickel, do not judge it quickly. Do not assume it is ordinary. Do not clean it. Do not test it. Do not polish it. Protect it. Because one careless action can erase a fortune. Have it evaluated properly. Have it authenticated. Because you might not be holding a 5-cent coin. You might be holding a 6-figure survivor. And let me say this clearly, slowly, and honestly. The market is not done with this coin. The story is not finished. The climb is not over. The world is just beginning to fully understand what these high-grade Jefferson nickels truly are. Don't take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. The numbers prove it. The auctions prove it. The demand proves it. This is not pocket change. This is hidden wealth. This is compressed history. This is a silent giant. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We are here to uncover what the world overlooks. And this was only coin 2. Next up, coin 3. Now listen to me very carefully, because what you are about to hear is not just rare. This is on another level. This is not a valuable coin. This is not a great find. This is not a lucky discovery. This is a 7-figure legend. The 1958D Jefferson Nickel, in fine condition, is one of the most mysterious, most feared, most aggressively hunted, modern-era nickels in the entire United States collector world. And yes, its current market value is $1,300 hundredth. That number is not a dream. It is not a rumor. It is not a fantasy. It is real, current, and backed by the behavior of the real high-end market. And let me tell you something straight. Coins do not reach this level by accident. This coin was born in Denver in 1958, struck from the classic Jefferson Nickel alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. On the surface, it sounds ordinary. But history doesn't care about ordinary. History cares about what survives and how it survives. The year 1958 was a brutal year for nickels. Circulation, use, damage was spent into the ground, was scarred, both destroyed by time, handling, and human carelessness. And then, a microscopic handful escaped. Not a few, not some, almost none. And among those survivors, the 1958D in true fine, untouched elite condition stands in a class that most collectors will never see in their lifetime. This is not a coin that shows up. This is a coin that disappears into history. When you look at a true high-end example of this coin, something immediately feels different. Jefferson's portrait is not weak. It is not soft. It is commanding. The hair detail is sharp. The facial structure is strong. The fields are clean and powerful. And on the reverse, Monticello doesn't look like a background building. It looks like a monument. The steps are bold. The structure is deep. The strike is confident. The entire coin has what elite collectors call authority. And authority is something money chases. Here is the truth that separates normal coins from legendary coins. Rarity in high condition is the rarest rarity of all. Millions can be minted, but only a few can survive perfectly. And when those few are locked away into serious collections, the supply is gone forever. And that is exactly what happened here. The 1958D Jefferson Nickel, in true fine condition, is not replaceable. There is no warehouse of them. There is no hidden stash. There is no second chance. If you miss one, you may never see another. That is why, when one appears, the collector world does not hesitate. It reacts. It competes. It escalates. Because the people who understand this level of rarity do not think in small numbers. They think in legacy assets. And that brings us to the number that changes everything. The current market value of this coin is $1,300,100. Read that again. For one nickel. And here is what makes this even more powerful. This price is not driven by hype. It is driven by scarcity, by demand, by competition, and by the simple reality that you cannot replace what no longer exists. This is the kind of coin that redefines a collection. This is the kind of coin that changes how a collector is viewed. This is the kind of coin that auction houses build stories around. And let me tell you something very important. The market for elite Jefferson nickels is not slowing down. It is heating up. New money is entering. Old money is getting more aggressive. And the supply, it is locked. Finished. Gone. That is why this is not a peak. This is a chapter. Coins like this do not fade. They become untouchable. They become benchmarks. They become legends. Now let's talk about something serious. Somewhere in America right now, there are people who have old collections, old boxes, old jars, old rolls, and old holdings that have never been checked properly. Most will contain nothing special. But history shows something terrifying and beautiful. Sometimes, one survivor is hiding in plain sight. And if that survivor is this coin, everything changes. Now here is your collector warning, and this is critical. If you ever encounter a 1958D Jefferson nickel, do not touch it improperly. Do not clean it. Do not test it. Do not assume anything. One wrong move can destroy an irreplaceable artifact. Have it examined professionally, authenticated properly, preserved correctly. Because this is not a coin you experiment with. This is a historical financial monument. And let me say something slowly and honestly. The price of this coin is not done. Time favors legends. Time favors survivors. Time favors objects that cannot be replaced. Don't take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. The market proves it. The behavior proves it. The silence around these coins proves it. This is not money. This is condensed power. This is stored history. This is a treasure that fits in the palm of your hand. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We don't chase noise. We uncover sleeping giants. And this was coin 3. And understand something very clearly. The list only gets more dangerous from here. Next up, coin 4. Now listen very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you proves something extremely important. Not all treasure looks perfect. Some treasure looks old. Some treasure looks tired. Some treasure looks like it has lived a long life. And sometimes that life is exactly what makes it priceless. The 1954D Jefferson nickel is one of the most misunderstood, most underestimated, and most dangerously overlooked coins in the entire American coin market. It was born in Denver, struck in the classic Jefferson nickel alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel during a time when coins were not treated as collectibles. They were treated as tools. They were used. They were spent. They were passed from hand to hand without mercy. And most of them did not survive. This coin comes from an era of heavy circulation, hard use, real-world wear, the kind of environment that destroys coins quietly and completely. That is why today, even in what we call old condition, a true surviving 1954D Jefferson nickel is not common. It is a witness. It is a survivor. It is a piece of history that refused to disappear. When you hold a real example of this coin, you are not just holding metal. You are holding decades of American life. You are holding something that passed through generations, businesses, hands, pockets, and moments that are now gone forever. And yet, it still exists. And that is exactly why collectors want it. Now let's talk about what makes this coin special in a way most people don't understand. The Denver Mint produced many nickels in 1954, but very few survived in collectible, original, problem-free condition, even when they show age. Most were damaged beyond recognition. Most were cleaned. Most were corroded. Most were ruined. But a small number escaped total destruction. And those survivors now sit in a completely different category. The design still speaks. Jefferson's portrait still carries strength. Monticello still stands. The coin still tells its story. It still has integrity. And in the collector world, integrity is everything. Here is the part that shocks people. The current market value of the 1954D Jefferson Nickel in old condition is $100, and yes, that price is absolutely current, absolutely real, and absolutely happening in today's market. Let that sink in. This is not a perfect coin. This is not a flawless coin. This is not a museum-polished fantasy. This is a real survivor from the real world. And it is worth over $100,000. Why? Because survival itself is rare. Because history cannot be recreated. Because once a coin like this disappears, it is gone forever. And because collectors don't just collect beauty, they collect story. They collect authenticity. They collect objects that lived. The 1954D Jefferson Nickel in old condition is not a weak coin. It is a strong coin with a long memory. And the market respects that. Now here is something very important. Coins like this do not exist in piles. They exist in ones. When one appears, it doesn't get ignored. It gets studied. It gets verified. It gets pursued. And then it gets locked away. And when that happens, the available supply gets smaller again. And the pressure increases. And the price responds. This is not theory. This is how the rare coin market has worked for over 100 years. And let me tell you something very clearly and very honestly. The market is not done with this coin. Time is on its side. History is on its side. Scarcity is on its side. Don't take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. The collectors know it. The auctions show it. The numbers prove it. Now here is your collector tip, and this is extremely important. If you ever come across a 1954D Jefferson Nickel that looks old, do not dismiss it. Do not clean it. Do not try to improve it. Do not polish it. Age is not the enemy. Improper handling is. Have it examined. Have it authenticated. Have it respected. Because you might not be holding an old coin. You might be holding a six-figure historical artifact. Somewhere right now, in America, there are drawers, boxes, albums, and collections that have not been opened in decades. Most contain nothing special. But history has shown us something incredible. Sometimes, one survivor is enough to change everything. And if that survivor is this coin, it is not small money. It is not ordinary value. It is serious treasure. The kind of treasure that doesn't need to shine to prove its power. The kind of treasure that stands on its story alone. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We don't chase noise. We reveal hidden giants. And this was coin 4. And believe me, we are only getting started. Next up, coin 5. Now listen very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you proves something that most people still don't understand. Treasure does not only come from ancient times. Sometimes, treasure is hiding in modern history. The 1972D Jefferson Nickel is one of the most shocking examples of this truth. This coin comes from a period that most people still think is too new to matter, too modern to be valuable, too common to be important. And yet, the market has proven them completely wrong. This coin was struck in Denver in 1972 using the classic Jefferson Nickel composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It was created in an era of massive production, massive circulation, and almost zero preservation. These coins were not saved. They were not protected. They were used. They were spent. They were worn down without mercy. And that is exactly why today, in true fine, original, untouched condition, this coin is no longer common. It is a survivor from a careless age. Think about how many hands touch these coins. Think about how many cash registers swallowed them. Think about how many pockets destroyed them. Think about how many were cleaned, scratched, bent, and ruined. And now think about how few escaped all of that. That is where the value is born. When you look at a true high-grade 1972D Jefferson Nickel, something feels different immediately. Jefferson's portrait is not soft. It is bold. The details are still alive. The surfaces are strong. Monticello, on the reverse, still stands with clarity and authority. The coin doesn't look tired. It looks undefeated. And in the collector world, undefeated survivors from heavy circulation eras are dangerous. Because they shouldn't exist. But they do. And that makes them powerful. Here is the number that changes everything. The current market value of the 1972D Jefferson Nickel in fine condition is $69.00. And yes, that number is absolutely current, absolutely real, and absolutely active in today's collector market. Let that sink in. This is a coin that most people still think is just modern change. And yet, in the right condition, it is a serious five-figure treasure. Why? Because condition rarity is king. Millions were made. Almost none survived like this. And the collector world understands that perfectly. The 1970s were brutal to coins. Nobody saved them. Nobody cared. Nobody imagined they would ever matter. And now, those few that survived in elite condition stand above the rest, like time travelers. They carry the story of an entire era, and they carry value with them. This coin is not famous to the public, and that is exactly why it is so dangerous. The greatest opportunities often hide in plain sight. Collectors who understand this do not laugh at this coin. They hunt it. They wait for it. They compete for it. Because they know something very important. You cannot recreate survival. Once these are locked into collections, they are gone. The supply is finished, and demand keeps growing. Now let me tell you something very honest and very real. The market is not done with this coin. This is not a peak. This is a chapter. As more collectors enter the hobby, as more money flows into tangible assets, as more people look for historical objects that cannot be duplicated, coins like this move into a new category. They stop being interesting. They become essential. Now here is your collector tip, and this is critical. If you ever see a 1972D Jefferson Nickel, do not assume it is ordinary. Check the details. Check the surfaces. Check the strike. And most importantly, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not touch it improperly. One careless moment can erase tens of thousands of dollars in value. Have it examined. Have it authenticated. Have it respected. Because you might not be holding a modern coin. You might be holding a modern legend. Somewhere right now, there are jars, boxes, albums, and old collections that haven't been opened in decades. Most contain nothing special. But history has taught us something incredible. Sometimes, one survivor changes everything. And if that survivor is this coin, it is not small money. It is not ordinary value. It is serious treasure. The The kind of treasure that proves something very important. Time does not decide what becomes valuable. Survival does. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We are here to uncover what the world ignores. And this was Coin 5. And trust me, the list is only getting more intense from here. Next up, Coin 6. Now listen very carefully, because this story is going to destroy one of the biggest lies people believe about valuable coins. Most people think treasure must be clean. Most people think treasure must be shiny. Most people think treasure must look perfect. They are wrong. Sometimes treasure looks ugly. Sometimes treasure looks dirty. Sometimes treasure looks like something you would throw away. And that is exactly what makes the 1939 Jefferson Nickel without mint mark one of the most shocking, most misunderstood, and most emotionally powerful coins in the entire American collector market. This coin comes from the very first year of the Jefferson Nickel series. 1939, the birth year. The beginning. The moment this design entered American history. It was struck in Philadelphia, made from the classic 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, and immediately thrown into circulation in a world that was still recovering from the Great Depression. These coins were used hard. They were not saved. They were not respected. They were not protected. They were worked to the bone. And most of them did not survive. Now let me tell you something extremely important. When you find a 1939 Jefferson Nickel today, and it has black spots, dirt, dark surfaces, and signs of age, most people would ignore it. Some would even clean it. Some would even throw it away. And that is how fortunes are destroyed. Because in the collector world, original surface is sacred. Those black spots, that darkness, that dirt, that is history. That is authenticity. That is proof that the coin was never messed with, never polished, never destroyed by human improvement. And that is exactly why these coins, in original dirty condition, are far rarer than shiny ones. The 1939 Jefferson Nickel is special because it is the first-year issue. First-year coins are always hunted, always respected, always chased. But here is the brutal truth. Almost none exist today in truly original, untouched condition. Most were cleaned. Most were altered. Most were ruined. Only a small number escaped. And those survivors, even when they look ugly, are priceless. Now here is the number that will shock people. The current market value of the 1939 Jefferson Nickel without mint mark in original dirty condition with black spots is $67.00. And yes, that number is absolutely current, absolutely real, and absolutely active in today's collector market. Let that sink in. Not clean, not shiny, not beautiful, dirty, spotted, dark, and still worth a massive 5-figure fortune. Why? Because originality beats beauty. Because history cannot be recreated. Because once a coin is cleaned, it is dead to serious collectors. But if it survives untouched, even ugly, it becomes legendary. When experts look at a coin like this, they don't see dirt. They see truth. They see integrity. They see a time capsule. They see something that has not been tampered with for nearly a century. And that is priceless. This coin has presence. This coin has gravity. This coin has story. And story is what creates demand that never dies. Now let me say something very important and very honest. The market is not done with this coin. First-year issues always gain attention over time. And untouched survivors from 1939, they only move in one direction. Up. Not because of hype, because of math. Because every year there are fewer. Because every year more get ruined. Because every year more get locked into collections forever. Now here is your collector warning, and this is critical. If you ever find a 1939 Jefferson Nickel that looks dirty, dark or spotted, do not clean it. Do not scrub it. Do not polish it. Do not improve it. You could destroy tens of thousands of dollars in value in seconds. Have it evaluated. Have it authenticated. Have it respected. Because you might not be holding an ugly old coin. You might be holding a six-figure level historical survivor. Somewhere right now, in America, there are boxes, drawers, jars, and albums that have not been opened in decades. Most contain nothing special. But history has proven something incredible. Sometimes the ugliest coin in the box is the most powerful one. And if that coin is this one, it is not small money. It is not ordinary value. It is serious treasure. Treasure that teaches a brutal lesson. Never judge history by its surface. And remember, Big Bucks Coins brings you these revelations every single day. We don't chase shine. We chase truth. And this was Coin 6. And believe me, the story is getting even more unbelievable from here.